Folks, we welcome to the show Mr. Joel Wymer. Joel has been in business for 15 years, helping clients who normal financial planners would have otherwise overlooked. And at the same time, he's been voted the Akron Beacon Journal #1 financial advisor in their community, beating out Wells Fargo and many other financial firms in his local area. We welcome to the show here on Money Smart Radio, Mr. Joel Wymer.
Hey, Matthew, how are you this morning?
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
What do you think is the #1 way, or some of the ways that people are thinking about money that's really hurting them, especially right now in a recession?
Well, you're right in saying that we all have this preconditioning and kind of the traditional view of how we've been taught to view money is just by simply kind of refocusing and getting a little different view on how you view money and how you view planning is going to be beneficial.
What do you say about traditional financial planning advice that really hasn't played out at the end of the day?
It hasn't, you're right. And I think we just have to look back to the last 10 years. The stock market has actually lost value in the last 10 years. We see people who've lost 40, 50, 60% of their account values. And they look at us and they ask the question, oh, this is what you told us to do. And we may be in a worse off position now than we were 5 or 7 or 10 years ago. So, where do we go from here?
You've been coaching clients in terms of understanding the mortgage in a different light outside of just this big debt instrument?
Absolutely. And that, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Most people, they get this house and it's almost an obligation to them. I got this monthly payment, I've got all the upkeep, I've got the repairs to do all the time, the taxes and so forth. But that's where we try and simply shift their viewpoint.
Exactly.
So I think it's a simple shift in viewpoint from that old traditional style of advice to a new, more innovative style of advice.
A ton of people there in Akron are you're the #1 financial advisor there in your area. What can people do now?
Well, you're right. This is a tough area too. I mean, like many other areas in the country, we're approaching 11% unemployment. So that means thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people are out of job here. People walk in our office all the time, and there's really, it looks like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They just don't think there's any hope out there. Again, we try and shift that viewpoint. We want to renew their minds, right? And the book of Romans says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Preach, brother. Come on, somebody.
Yeah, that's it right there. And that's what we're trying to do in their financial lives. We want to renew their mind and give them hope again by taking some of these innovative and safe concepts and bringing them kind of into the 21st century.
Now, you have a 3-step process here that's really earned the respect of your community as they voted you as the #1 financial firm in Akron, Ohio, according to the Akron Beacon Journal. What is that 3-step process?
I can sum it up in 3 words. It's maximization, optimization, and elimination. But the first step everybody loves, because maximization, we're talking about cash flow. We look at those, we see how efficient those are and what it's actually producing for the people. And we kind of refocus or restructure that, and we're almost always able to put additional cash flow in somebody's pocket immediately. So step 1 makes them really happy right away. Optimization, step 2, this is probably my favorite step, because when we're talking about those lost equity dollars or those unused equity dollars, everybody has assets that are either overlooked or unused. When you use optimization techniques and you actually use equity as a wealth creation tool, it can increase your investable assets and your net worth by 4 to 5 times, maybe even more. Final step is elimination, and we are all about the elimination of taxation here, Matthew.
There you go.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to pay any more tax than they have to. We kind of shift. The great news here is you have a choice. You can choose to invest in tax-favored or tax-free vehicles that are going to create these buckets of tax-free income. And I love that word, because you create these buckets of tax-free income in retirement, and all that does is just guarantee you're not going to run out of money and have to reduce your lifestyle at some point in the future.
Do your clients have to be rich to see you?
No, absolutely not. That's the great thing. I think one of the benefits of being voted the #1 financial advisor is I've got a bigger stage now. And that's a pretty humbling thing. I mean, I'm able to reach more people because of that notoriety, and I think God has given me a bigger stage. My purpose is, obviously my talent is to help people in their financial life. You don't have to be rich. encouraged to put this 3-step process into play, and it probably makes as big or bigger difference on the average person, the average hardworking individual, than it does anybody else.
Great. Joe, where can people find more information about you, your company, and your services?
They can find us on the web, of course, at growmycashflow.com.
Love it.
I'd highly encourage everybody to go there and sign up for our free newsletter, or they can call and leave us their information toll free any time of day, 24 hours, at 877-710-1802.
Awesome, Joe. Thanks for stopping by the Money Smart Radio Show. And I'm reminded of one of my favorite proverbs. As you continue to be diligent in your work, the proverb says, a man who is diligent in his work will sit amongst kings. And that's you, my brother. That's why you're number one, and God has elevated you to position to be a beacon of hope and to deliver that message of hope. So we appreciate you, man.